Hello everybody, how is everybody today? We're actually sort of virtually on time today, which does make a choice. A choice does make a difference. Don't know what I'm saying, to be honest. I've been rushing.
Thought you'd forgotten. I've been up here waiting for you.
All right, so the usual thing, can everybody hear me and can everybody hear Louise? You need to say something, Louise.
Can everybody hear me?
You do need to say, otherwise everyone's going, no, we can't hear Louise, we can't hear Louise. So if everyone is on, can you all reach out and go, yes, we can hear you, Andrew, yes, we can hear you, Louise. That'd be brilliant if you could. All's good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. How is everybody today? We have had a really good weekend because it's been Louise's birthday.
Don't ask me how old I am.
Did you have a good birthday, Louise?
I had a really good birthday.
Well, yeah, well, I was there, wasn't I?
Well, we're still on lockdown here, but in a way, it was quite unique because there was no pressure to go out partying, drinking, which I do love doing, cocktails and
absolutely.
that sort of thing. But we couldn't really do anything or go anywhere or see anyone really because we're not supposed to be in anybody else's household. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
so
we just relaxed and
we had a good day.
Yeah.
Just simply
Ate
chilled.
lots of cake.
Ate lots of cake. We went into the gym in the morning. Well, you went into the gym. I came around here to pick up your surprise birthday cake. We went out for a walk. We had time in the garden. I cooked some food then because Jazz and boyfriend came over. We had a nice time with them in the garden, keeping socially distant, obviously. And that was about it, wasn't it? That was about it. That was your birthday. And lots and lots of presents.
Yes, this is one of my birthday presents. I was spoiled.
Yeah, of course you were. Anything, we don't need to say, no need to say anything regarding anything just yet, but anything on just, well, it's 4 o'clock. Anything you want to say, Louise?
Hang on. I think it was Julian was asking about the next 12-hour live.
Great.
But we don't actually, have we got a date?
No.
No?
I haven't got my glasses, so we'll have to try and...
Do you want me to message Jason to bring them up?
Yeah, if you don't mind, please. Yes, please. A date. Yeah, we don't necessarily have... I'll say now. Let me tell you now. Let me just quickly show. It's going to be in November, okay? We know that. We think... We would like it to be the beginning of November. So it's either going to be, saying on my glasses, it's either going to be the 7th of November or the 14th of November, I think. Saturday or Sunday, Louise, what do you want to do?
I don't mind.
All right, so people who are on today, just a very quick, just let me know whether you want us to do the 12-hour on a Saturday or on a Sunday.
We could do with a poll, couldn't we? There's no way of counting or...
No, but we just have people today, is it? What do you prefer? And then just quickly run back through and see what we got, shall we? Unless you want to quickly make a poll.
Go on then, yeah.
Louise is quickly going to make. Louise is quickly going to make.
Is this the definitive date?
Well,
because a lot of people aren't.
No, Saturdays or Sundays. Do you want it on the Saturdays or do you want it on Sundays? This is it. We don't know yet. Because last time we did it on a Saturday, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which worked well, but I don't know about other people who are on here at the moment. Would you prefer the 12-hour on the Saturday or would you prefer the 12-hour on the Sundays? On Saturdays or Sundays? Sorry.
Put a poll in the description of the film when it goes onto YouTube so that people rewatching it have got a chance to...
Yeah, okay. Okay, but we don't quite know yet what. We know it's going to be the beginning of November. The 8th of November is Remembrance Sunday. So, don't know. It's entirely up to you, Louise. What do you want?
I'm easy.
Okay, so we'll do a quick poll, either the 7th or the 8th or the 14th or 15th of November. We're not going to leave it until the end of November because Black Friday and those sort of shenanigans that goes on. So we're going to be looking at... Anyway.
They haven't seen my message. Should I just go and get your glasses?
I'll manage without. It's okay. Yeah.
Shall I ring the shop?
No, I don't. I haven't got my glasses. But we should be okay. I don't need to see. I don't need to see anything, do I really? Not at all.
No, don't worry about seeing. It's really overrated, isn't it?
We don't need to see, do we? I got my visor anyway. either day will pop up when back from post. Okay, so Jason's around the post. That's a good boy. 12 hour on a Saturday. Yeah, Saturday for me. Saturday, someone says Sunday. Sunday's always a nice day. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to do a bit of a poll. And perhaps you can put it on.
Are we doing that now?
Can you put it on here? You put it on here as well.
Yeah.
So then we can refer to it then during the broadcast now, and then we can put it in the description as well. But first of all, Louise, we need to have our first question.
Okay.
So before we go any further, it is Monday. I do this because we cut off the chit chat at the beginning for the At the Bench members, so I put it on there. And I always like to start it with today's Monday. Okay. So today and action. So today is Monday, the 21st of September. Autumn solstice, winter solstice today, 21st of September. It's
not winter solstice, is it? Surely
it's something's happening on the 21st of September. 21st of September, Monday, it's time for our usual weekly question and answer hour-ish sort of session. So Louise, may we have our first question, please?
Yes. Jessica is saying, do you have a tool recommendation for getting symmetrical curves? I tried a compass, but it's much too round.
Symmetrical curves. Mm-hmm. I think the best thing for you to get is this. Bear with me a second. I'm just going to move around here. And we can. Right, yeah, thank you very much. We can just go through my drawers. Let's get some of these, shall we? Okay, here we go. All right.
Don't trip over.
Not going to trip over. All cables and everything else. I'm not quite sure what that is. So what I use, symmetrical curves, as in lefts and rights, that sort of thing. Well, my shoes come up now. The best thing that I can suggest that you get are these. Overhead camera. Are these templates. These are templates from a company called Isomars, and they are really, really good because you have got different. Hang on. Thank you, Sharon, for my glasses. Thank you. So this hand, who's the thing? Hello.
His left hand.
His left hand, right hand. These are really, really good. Isomars. They do templates in all the stone sizes, all the stone styles. They do lovely, lovely swirls. And these are ring templates. You can use them for marking out the edges of waxes. If you've got these fancy ones here, we got sides, and I'm getting to the point now in a minute. Diamond shapes and rounds, ovals. These are matte for, are they matte? They're matte templates now. These are for wax. You can get round ones. And again, you can get loads and loads and loads and loads. And this is what I wanted to come to. Let's have a look what we got here. And there's more. My God, I had so many templates and more templates and more templates. Oh, that's not templates. And this I find is the most important thing that you can have. This is a circle template, and from this you can do your lefts and rights quite easy. Now I'm not sure exactly what sort of thing that you're doing, but if you want to draw an arc on this side, you've got the arc on this side. These are marked out in divisions as well. Let me see how close I can go for that camera up there for you to see. There we go. These are marked out in divisions all the way around the circles, and likewise in here's the quarter twos, quarter past, 90 degrees, that sort of thing. So these are really, really good for getting symmetrical curves. If you don't want round, they do ovals, they do squiggly shapes, they do all sorts of things. So Isomars is a brand that I would definitely recommend. You can buy them direct from Isomars. I think it's isomars.com, so go and check them out. They do thousands of different types of template, not just the sort of the 10 or 15 that I've got there. And they're not too expensive. I think they must be around about £12 for a template, but these will last you years and years and years. Really, really fantastic types of templates. So I think this is going to be the best way you're going to get symmetrical curves. And yes, dividers are great, but you have to stick the point in and you have to draw an arc and so forth. So I find that these things, as I said, you can use flexi curves as well. Flexi curves, another brilliant tool that you can use. But these templates are the bee's knees. as they say. As I said, there's loads and loads and loads and loads and loads different styles, and there's plenty more styles. So go and check them out, isomars.com. I will write that on my board whilst isomars.com. Templates. And I'll leave that in the corner for you to have a look at so you don't forget. But isomars.com, absolutely brilliant. Next question, please, Louise, may we?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
What is this is on Andres? What is the pressure on your oxygen? There is a debate saying that over 20 it will ruin the hose.
I don't buy my oxygen's downstairs. I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to go downstairs. We got our oxygen. It's not in this workshop, unfortunately. We just simply use these little butane canisters here. But downstairs in our other workshop, yes, we do have our oxygen and gas. I don't know. I'd have to come back to you on that one. Let me just make a little note down here so I don't forget. Oxygen pressure. I don't think you gain anything from having the pressure too high. You don't want anything too much that is going to expand the hose, and you can't have it too much of a pressure, because when you come to turn on the oxygen, it's going to come out so quick it's going to blow the flame out. So I will have to double check downstairs. In fact, when Louise has got 2 minutes, she can message Jason to do a screenshot of the oxygen dials and valves downstairs. We need to know what pressure, what PSI it is. You're in your money today, aren't you, dear?
Screenshot of oxygen parameters?
Yeah, oxygen valves, gauge, please.
Okay.
Okay, coolio. Excellent. All right then, so I will tell you when I get notification from downstairs. Can you give us the next question, please, Louise?
I can. I've just put the link up as well for a little questionnaire. It just says Saturday or Sunday.
Okay, cool.
Because
excellent.
we haven't got a date yet, have we?
No, not yet. No, I'd have to ask.
Whatever day.
Okay, Saturdays or
Generally.
Sunday.
Oh, he sent me a
Photo already. Well, he's a bit quick.
Have you seen what the photo is? Oh, the post office. He's still in the post office.
Jason's still in the post office. He's obviously queuing the post office. When he's back,
I thought he was on the ball then.
Jason's in the post office, and when he's back, he will actually send us. I know. It's the front door of the post office. That's where Jason is. Okay, Louise, may we have our next question, please?
Yes. Okay, Esther wants to upgrade a torch, currently small butane, and I want to be able to anneal larger pieces. I know you have mentioned sievert or propane. Is that okay to have in a house studio?
Yeah, I would think so, because if you have one of those little heaters that takes a propane tank, you're allowed one of those. So I see no reason why you can't have a normal propane tank, which is the same thing that plugs into your heater, you know, with that where you light it when they have the fire and the bars and the tank goes in the back. It's one of those. Yes, you should be able to have propane tank because you can have those heaters in houses and flats and so forth. So yes, if you want to progress from these, I would definitely go up to a sievert. Bear with me a second, I will get it now. Very, very quickly, I will go into my other studio and I've got, I should have like a roving, I'm having problems with my doors today. Here we go, okay. I'm going to stay in place, yes they are. Okay, here we go. I've got one of these. This is a sievert torch with hose, with an attachment that will go up onto a propane tank. Now this has this handle. All right, this handle here, this is the pencil nozzle. I think we talked about this last week. I'm not going to take it out of the bag because it's all sealed up. This here is ideal, and I use one of these for, it must be close to around about 15 years to solder. No problems at all. been able to use that, because it's not necessarily the size of the flame when it comes to soldering, it's knowing how to use the flame and how to use the heat coming out of the flame for soldering sort of ring shanks or even the finest to chains. But you said you wanted to do some annealing. That's right, it's not enamel, annealing. Okay, so what I would suggest you do is buy one of these. Okay, you want to go to Hamilton Gas, another one. Okay, Hamilton Gas. We did this, I think it was last week. Hamilton Gas, and I think it's gas, if I remember, products.com. So Hamilton Gas, gasproducts.com. They're in Ireland. This is where I got this from. This is one of the cheapest places that you can buy one of these torches. Don't go to Cookson's, don't go to anywhere else. Go to Hamilton Gas and get one of these. Propane torch. Then, whilst you're there, I'll come to you now, Louise. Then what you want to do whilst you're there is pick up a neck. Pick up one of these. This is a neck. That way around, there we go, like that. And also you need to pick up one of these. This is a burner. This is a 394102. Get one of these. So this neck will screw into the burner. He says it's going to be awkward because it's all fastened together. So that will do that. This here will fasten in place of the neck. I got my phone by
okay.
now. Yeah, cool. So this
you
here.
need your glasses to see it though. Oh, you've got them now, haven't you? Of course, yeah.
So this neck here will unscrew, and you screw this in its place, and now you've got this massive burner that is absolutely fantastic for annealing. And if you want to do some melting down, this is absolutely brilliant. I've got an even bigger one here. So we've got this size nozzle here, and this is even bigger again. I'm not quite sure what size this is. It's down here. This is a 2238. This is even bigger again. And this we use for lost wax casting. We use this for melting down gold and silver. It'll melt down about 2 to 3 ounces of silver. So yes, I would definitely progress up from these to get a sievert. If you're in the US, unfortunately sievert does not distribute in the US, but if you're in the UK and Europe and everywhere else, sievert, Hamilton Gas, gasproducts.com, go and get that, and also get the nozzles as well, because it'll last you for years and years and years. The gas bottles as well will last you for a long time, even just the small little dumpy one as well. That's going to last you well over a year, and that must cost you about £9. So it's the best value torch that I think you can get. So going back to our gas products, our gas. Nice one, Jason. Let's have a look. Let's see what he's got here. So he has got... am I joking, Jesse? Okay, thanks. Yeah, what we got there? What are we on? PSI. We're on about 30 PSI. And that seems to be okay for us. I'm not quite sure what the gentleman said. Louise, was it 10? Was it 10 PSI?
Over 20.
Over
There's
20.
A debate saying over 20 it will ruin the hose.
Is that PSI?
It just says over 20.
Over 20.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got ours on 30. So that's well over the top of what you just said. But Jason's had his hoses for about 15 years. He's had no problems at all. I've just got some new hoses on mine. I've had mine for the past 3 years. I had mine for about 12 years prior to that. So again, no problems at all with that. So I don't think it makes much of a difference, but we're running 30 PSI and that seems to be fine for us. Absolutely. So there we go. Hope that answers your question. We did that. So Louise has got that up as well. So Louise, maybe have...
I was just going to say, I can't remember, I think it was Jill said, regarding the last question, check your house insurance provider too.
Yes.
If you're going to be doing anything like that in your
yes.
house.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I thought if you can get those gas heaters for your house, you should be okay with it. But as you say, just double check your insurance for it. Yes, definitely. And also perhaps you could take out some extra insurance with a company called TH March, and they do some what are they called? Small makers insurance. TH March. So they're there as well. They're there for insurance and they should be able to help you as well. Okay, so I think that's good. Thank you for that. May we have our next question, please, Louise?
Yes. Laura is asking, would you please show us how to determine the proper height for a workbench?
They are pretty much a standard height. When you buy a jeweller's workbench, they are like pretty much the same height. And I think what you need to do is adjust your stool, perhaps accordingly as well. But the best thing that I can suggest is that when you are sat at your bench pin should be just sort of here, which is, and if I can just produce this little bit of white chop, but I know my, oh, there we go. So this is coming right into the center of, what's this called by here, Louise? Sternum? Right by here? By there? Is that a sternum?
I don't know.
Solar plexus? No, sternum. There?
Just where the bone stops, I suppose.
Just in between, just behind that?
Here, isn't it?
That's your sternum, Jan.
I don't know. I don't know.
By there? What's that? Yeah, so just so it comes by here, yeah? So the pinch peg, in theory, comes to sort of like chest level here. When you put your arms upon your bench, if your bench is too low, your forearms aren't flat, okay? What you want to do is to come along so your forearms are flat. People do say that this part of your arm here...
sternum, yeah, it is the sternum. I didn't know. These guys are telling me.
So people say that this part from your shoulder to your elbow should be level, but I think, to be honest, that's going to be perhaps a little bit too high if it was right up here. And it's more like a... What's this, Louisa? What no?
Oh, what do you call it?
That's what no? Yeah. So I think that's going to be too high. So this bench here, I think it's a little bit lower than what I did have. It's usually around about 1 meter high. I will measure this now. Hang on a moment, and I've got my ruler. We have got...
So it depends on the length of beam, doesn't it?
It depends on what side, Louise? What does it depend on?
That's going to be different for everybody.
No, the benches are all pretty much the same height.
Are they?
Yeah.
What if you're short?
You have a higher stool. Tall? You have a lower stool, usually.
But
then you do, yeah, there are limitations. So benches, this bench here, from floor to height is 95 centimetres. So that is this. I think I had my other ones in the front workshop that are a little bit higher. They're close to about 100 centimetres, 1 metre tall. So they're pretty much at that height.
This one's really low.
Yeah, I put that down as a desk.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, as that's an electric one, you can put it to whatever height you want.
I just think whatever height it is, just make sure you look after your back as well.
Well, yeah, but this is the reason what I was coming to.
Okay,
so when,
sorry.
no, absolutely.
Another Louise.
You carry on, Louise. Go on. Ask Louise a question. No, so yes, exactly that. What you don't want to be doing is having your stool so high that you've got a rounded back. You want to sit nice and high. As I said, your forearms here should just lie nice and neatly on the worktop like that. I would say perhaps I could go a little bit higher, perhaps another 2 inches higher. So 1 meter for me would be great. You can adjust your stool as well to go up or down. This stool here is the lowest that this will go, because this actually could come a little bit higher. But if I was up here, this is it's just too high because you're constantly doing this. So yeah, come down. You've got to be looking at the peg all day long. I could do with this a little bit lower stool or a little bit higher on the bench, but 1 meter is about right for the height that it should be. Forearms, sternum.
Has anyone ever designed anything? Because like I know you can get loops which angle down, aren't they? So that you're not.
Yeah, that's what these are, don't they, like that, and then these will come down like that. So even though I can be looking forwards, I can look through there, so I can see myself on the monitor there. I can actually just gaze my eyes downwards, down here. So as I look up, I can see over the top of you. I can see you, but if I look down here, I can see the magnification. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, no. Kind of. No, you can get proper ones that you just like that, and you're looking and you go like that. I can't remember the word for it, but they are.
Oh, I see. Like a opposite to a periscope.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, dentists use them, and you can literally just see,
just work like that.
Yeah, so that your posture's, you're really looking after your back and your neck, and
it's like that with microscopes as well, because microscopes tend to be up here like this, and you tend to be quite high then, and you're just looking forward really through the microscope, and what you're doing is down here. So when you see someone looking through a microscope, it looks really strange because they're looking forward, but yet they're working down here, but the microscope actually sees that. So yeah. Okay, so may we have, I'm not quite sure on that one. Our next question, please, Louise.
Yes, Andres sorry, I can't say your name. Which is the best alloy for silver? I mean, the less reactive with sweat and atmosphere.
I really don't know. I don't know. I just go by the alloy that comes from the bullion dealers, and I don't think that they really have any sort of choice when it comes to that sort of thing. I really don't know what the best alloy would be. Are you planning on creating your own alloy? Because that would be interesting. But I know that if you get them from a bullion dealer or from Stuller or from Rio or from Otto Fry, it's a standard alloy. And it's a standard alloy, I think, throughout the whole trade. You may be able to get these companies to mix up your own alloys if you have a certain special alloy that you want. Perhaps you may want it a bit brighter or a bit resistant to tarnishing, something like that. They may be able to mix up the alloy for you. But as far as I'm aware of, it's just a standard alloy. This one's very clever. The lower part of the sternum is called your xiphoid process. There we go. Yes, so I don't really think there is an actual alloy that is resistant to sweat myself, but not sweat myself, but yeah. Okay, next question then, please, Louise.
Okay. AJ asking the same about finding the centre of a dome piece that you made in your previous video.
Sorry, I was just looking at this comment on that. Can you just repeat that again, please, Louise? Sorry.
Asking about finding the centre of a dome piece that you made in your previous video.
Okay, so the best thing to do with that is to get a pair of dividers. And what you want to do, so say you've got your dome, you're looking down on top, and this is your dome by here. Okay, so that is that. Let me just try and zoom in on that. Creations of RJ. Not too short. Right, so get your pair of dividers. Okay, so here's your dividers with the points there. And then what you need to do, you need to make these dividers here just a little bit sort of where you think the center of your dome is, okay? So your dividers would go here, you mark the dome and you sort of come along. Let me just remove that there. And we've got, and what you'll do with your dividers, you put one leg by here and you scribe an arc. Okay, so that's the arc from your dividers. You come over here, you put another leg here and you'll scribe another arc, okay, that does that. And then perhaps you come and put your leg of the dividers here and you scribe another arc. And where the center of this little area comes here is the center of your circle. Okay, so that would be, obviously I've just drawn that freehand. So that would be the center of the circle. And then likewise then, when you use the dividers on the dome, you'd have your dividers that do that, and you'd scribe a line, so the line would come here. You then would move your dividers round to another part of the dome, put the leg by here, so here's your dividers, you'll scribe it and so forth. And where that comes to, that is the center of your dome. Easier to draw than trying to explain. And you can do that with a circle, you can do that with a dome. It's exactly the same. So get your dividers, pair of dividers, scribe an arc and do that in 3 places. And where those 3 little arcs come to, the center there is the center of your circle. There we go. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Nancy is saying, do you have some tips for cleanly soldering rails on a band ring? I've done it before, but I'm aware that there's got to be an easier way.
Soldering rails on a band ring. Okay, so what I would do, 2 ways you can do it. You get your 3, say 3, there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. So there's my 3 rails. What I would do is to make them round into rings first of all. So you've got 3 individual rings. Then you can flatten them, use your metal steel block, get them nice and flat, then get them and rub them on a piece of emery paper that's on a nice flat surface. So you can rub that surface, one surface of the outers and both surfaces for the inner, so you got them really nice and clean. Dry run, put them together, see what they look like. If they're exactly perfect with no gap through it, proceed to the next stage. So once you've done that, got them, there's two methods now. What you can do is you get your first little band, like this, and this is your first band here, okay? What I would do then is get some solder. I think we used red for solder last week, didn't we? So what I would do is flood some solder on that one face. Then you've got your other band. Your other band is here. Okay, there's your other band. So I wouldn't touch that band. And then you've got your other thin band on top, like that there. There's your other band there. And what I would do then is underneath here, I would flood solder onto that. So that's one way you can do it. So flood solder onto this band and that band. A very, very small amount. If it's too much, you can always stand it back. Flux it all together. Sandwich it all together. Warm it all up. And it'll all melt together, and those then will be soldered. And that, I think, is the best way, because you can be guaranteed you're going to get a nice solder seam all the way around. So that's one way you can do it. The other way would be if you look on the inside of your, let me try and work on this now. So this is your big band, because you've got a little band, you've got a thick band, and you've got a small band. And then if I can do a thin band, a thick band and a thin band. What I would do is put some solder pallions on the inside, covering those joints, those there. And likewise on the inside here, once it's all fluxed up together, then heat it all up together, and those little pallions then are going to melt, and hopefully, depending on how good your joins are, will actually flow then between the gap. The only problem with this method is that you've got these little shadows where the little pallions, the little bits of solder, melt and they will flood, and you've got a bit of cleaning up to do then on the inside to try and clean those little sort of shadows where that solder starts to melt. You've got to clean that away. But my method would be definitely to get the 3 rings, sweat solder on the outer bands, put them together, heat it up, nicely fluxed. Perhaps you just want to get some titanium clamps, perhaps. I got my titanium clamps. But no, I don't. Some titanium clamps to hold them all together, or a little bit of binding wire, or just ease it down with a pair of tweezers once it's all been soldered, and you should get nice even joints. Or put it on, you can get what can you get, what are they called, charcoal cones. You get a stand that's like this, and through here then you get like a charcoal cone. And you can put your ring then upon the charcoal cone, and because it's charcoal, you should be able to solder it, and there's a stand here. Yeah, charcoal cone, put them on there, and then you can be sure then that the rings are going to be lying flat on the charcoal cone. Oh, that was a long answer, wasn't it, for an easy question? So there we go. So that would be my best bet. But I think sweat soldering is going to be your best bet to get the outer rings done. Maybe have a new question. What do I normally say? Next question.
Next question.
Next
Louise.
question, please, Louise.
Can we have another question,
Please, Louise.
Sandy wants to prong set an apatite cab.
Yep.
Can I use the sterling silver balls as prongs, having a notched sterling silver base?
Having a
Notched.
sterling silver base. Not quite sure. But yes, you can. What I would advise you to do first of all, though, say you want a prong and you want to, did you say you want to put a ball on the end of the prong?
I want a prong set an apatite.
Okay,
Cab.
keep going.
Can I use the sterling silver balls as prongs, having a notched SS? I'm assuming that's sterling silver base.
Yeah, I would have thought so. So if you have a piece of wire and you hit at the end and you ball the end of the wire, so you've got a ball on the end, turn that around, and you can use that as a claw.
Sandy is saying yes for the ball on top.
Yeah, cool. So you can do this. So the problem that you're going to get is that if now, let me zoom in a bit more, if now you've got your cab here, and you push your ball over onto the cab, what you're going to find is that the ball will be like that, and here's the claw. And what I don't like about that is this gap here that you've got. Plus the point of contact is just on that one spot there. So what I would be inclined to do is that once you've got your ball Yep, here. What I would do is just file off that side there, buff it off, so your ball has a flat end or flat side like that. So when you push that against the edge of your stone, it's going to look something like that. Perhaps it won't be a gap, perhaps it'll be very, very, very close, but it'll look like this, which is going to be far better like that. So there's the ball on the end. That's going to be far safer because there's more metal in contact with the stone than if you simply just had that ball that looked like that would be against the stone like that. And that doesn't look very good, but that would be your better idea, is to file a flat. And yes, to your question, yes you can, but that would be your best way to do it, is to file the claw so it's in contact with the stone and not just reliant upon that tip. Because don't forget, if it's just that tip in contact, somebody can come along in here and pull the claw back. But if you have this and you've got this flat here, this point of contact right by here is going to be nice and tight and close, and nothing is really going to be able to get in there to pull the claw back or to catch on a woolly jumper or anything like that. So that is going to be your best bet. File the one end of the claw so it lies nice and tight against your apatite stone. May we have our next question, please, Louise?
Yes. Could I use as a really cheap mould what could I use as a really cheap mould if I can't afford to buy ingot moulds? Undead otter. Asked you that question.
An undead otter. Oh, we like otters.
Well, not an undead otter, yeah.
But we like otters. The life Louise and I remember we went up to Hay-on-Wye and we bought a book. We looked for the most unusual book one time.
When we go up there, don't we?
Hay-on-Wye is the like the second-hand book capital of the world. It's absolutely brilliant. If you haven't been to Hay-on-Wye, towards Abergavenny and towards Brecon Beacons, you've got to go there. It's absolutely fantastic. Perhaps go down there when lockdown is all finished. So we usually have a competition, who can find the most obscured titled books. And we found one called, was it The Secret Life of Otters?
The Secret Life of Otters.
The Secret Life of Otters. And do you know what? We had to go back a couple of weeks later to buy that book.
That was another competition to find The Secret Life of Otters.
We had to try and find the book called The Secret Life of Otters. And it was a really good book, wasn't it? I think you had it in your bedside cabinet for... You're
making us look really sad. Ingot moulds.
Sorry, cheap ingot moulds. The best thing to do would be to get something like your soldering block like this and get... It was in your bedside cabinet, not mine. It was in your bedside cabinet. Get a soldering block like this and you can gouge it out with a chisel or with a screwdriver. You can gouge out a little rectangular hole in that. You can get a charcoal block as well and gouge out a little bit of a hole into your charcoal block as well. I suppose if you can make it out of clay perhaps, or make it out of, I don't know, mud, don't know, but anything like that that is going to withstand. You can use cuttlefish. Cuttlefish is another good one. It will take on the texture of the cuttlefish. If you've got delved clay, you can always get some delved clay and stick a nail into your delved clay, make a bit of a bigger pouring channel and pour your molten metal into your delved clay to make a nice round circular rod. Or you could sort of get a square and push that into your delved clay. So get your delved clay, you can pack that into a tin or the proper delved clay molds, stick your square rod into that, just as I said, just carve out a bit of a pouring channel and pour your molten metal into that, and you can then make ingots of whatever shape you want, triangular, round, square. It's entirely up to you. Another way of doing it. So those would be my little tips on making an ingot mold without buying an ingot mold. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay. Joe. Any advantages of compressed charcoal crucible over conventional ones aside the price?
Now, I think I saw something on Facebook that somebody was trying to melt some metal in a large, was it a large charcoal crucible or a graphite crucible? But I think what they were mistaken was the fact that that was actually the mold that you poured the molten metal into. But compressed charcoal, I've never used a charcoal crucible. Is that what the question was? Charcoal crucible? I've never used a charcoal crucible. I find that it would wear out quite quickly because, you know, you put a flame on charcoal and you keep a hot flame onto that charcoal, the charcoal eventually wear out and burn. So I've never ever tried it, but I would have thought perhaps compressed charcoal may be better than a normal charcoal, but for longevity I would simply use these ceramic crucibles, like the salamanders they call them. That would be my personal favourite. And then perhaps if you get like a graphite mould, if you wanted to, you could pour your molten metal into the graphite mould or into a compressed charcoal mould, and that would be ideal because that's a good medium for getting rid of the oxygen from the surface, and that'll leave the ingot nice and shiny. So I don't personally think there's much of a difference, but for me, I would always use those little crucible ceramic ones, clay ones. They're ceramic, aren't they? Crucibles, because I find they last a lot longer, and you can also put them in the crucible holders as well, and you can sort of screw them nice and tight. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Bernd is asking, if you have a wedding band, how do you calculate how many stones there is going to be, and how do you calculate the space between the stones so they're even?
Okay, what I would advise you to do, there's a website that I can't remember the name of, and it enables you, or you can do it if you're good in Photoshop, anything like that. I would suggest you do this. You would get a circle, concentric circles coming out, and then I would then put little divisions at on the hours, quarter past, and also in between, so you can work out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 around that. You can also do it with 6, and I can't remember the website off the top of my head, but it's like free resources, concentric circles, something like that, and you can put in how many divisions you want on a circle, and it'll produce one for you. Print it out, download it. But I find that this little table here that I've got, whether I go on at the bench, I'm not quite sure, but something like this is going to be ideal. Let's take off the wedding ring a second, because you can then get your ring exactly in the center where you've got it onto there, and then you can mark off the divisions going around. If you want more, you can always move that to halfway, and then you can mark off more divisions as well, going all the way around. So that is one way that you could mark them off nice and easily. The other way is you'd have a wedding band, and obviously the circumference has a measurement. So what I would do is work out the actual circumference, the measurement completely. And if you've got 2mm stones, you can then work on 2mm as you go along until you have perhaps a remainder. Then you can space out those 2mm stones, get a pair of dividers, you lay out the 2mm stones in front of you, you work out then how much space is going to be needed in between. You set your dividers to where the culets are of those stones, because you can turn those stones upside down. So you'd have your measurement. So you have your measurements like this, and that's 1 centimetre, 2 centimetres, 3 centimetres, 4 centimetres, and you've got your little marks in between. You would put your stones upside down like that, and then you'd measure see how many stones fit between there and there. And once you've got the right amount, allow for a little bit of a gap, because don't forget, if you have a circle like this and you set stones on the outsides out here, okay, and your stones are going to fit absolutely fantastically here, like this, okay? By the time you put those stones down in here, because obviously this has a circumference, the stones cannot be that size. Your stones have to be a little bit smaller, because they have to fit into the band without touching. So you have to allow for a distance between each stone. But then what you do, you get your dividers, here's your dividers, you measure between the cubits like that, and then you get your dividers up here and you strike off the numbers all the way around. And that is the way then to find out how many is going to fit around a band. But because this has a circumference, lay them out, we can work out how many stones you've got to go allowing. Remember, you've got to allow for, because that distance here, you've measured that distance from here to here on the outside of the band, but the stones have to be set below the surface. So the circumference By the time you set that stone lower into the band, that circumference now is smaller because it's coming nearer the center. So you have to allow for a gap in between each stone. If you didn't, you would not be able to set the stones down into the band because the stones would be overlapping and that would be no good. So allow for a little bit of space between each stone to allow the stones to sit into the band. And those are the best ways. But these little tables are absolutely fantastic. I got these, I just laminated it, and it's ideal for getting placings. You can get it at the, you can get 4 placings, you can get 6, you can get 8 and so forth. Absolutely brilliant. Cheap as chips. Find them on the internet, print them out, laminate it, stick them on your bench. Next question, please, Louise.
Please say hello to Cole, please. Mark
Pardon?
Sencole. Mark Sencole is joining us. Say hello to Cole.
Hello, Cole. Hi, Cole. Who's Cole?
Markson.
Markson. Cole
Yeah.
Markson. Markson. Cole Markson.
No, Markson.
Oh, Mark.
Cole.
Mark Goodwins. No.
No,
No.
I think it's a different Mark G.
Oh, Mark
But
G.
just say hello to Cole.
Hi. Hi, Cole. How are you doing? Next question, please, Louise.
Oh, what you like. Okay, we've got a very
Let me know,
general-
Cole, if this is your first time. If you're watching, let me know. What
How
are
old are you, Cole?
what are you up
Are you
to?
interested in making jewellery?
What are you up to, Cole? Tell us all
He's
about
helping
you.
Dad make a big Cuban link chain. Oh, that's fantastic.
Very nice.
Oh, so are you learning, Cole?
Was he doing the twisting? Is he a big beefy guy that's twisting the Cuban chain, perhaps? Let us know. Sorry. Okay. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay. Tate has asked a general soldering question. How do you solder? Can we point him in the direction of some resources?
Sorry,
Is there
any
how do you solder? Is
go-
it a video?
Yeah, plenty on
we
YouTube.
can-
Yes,
Yeah.
on YouTube films.
Oh, he's 11. Sorry, I keep
Oh, bless.
digressing. Oh.
Cole is 10, 11 in 1 week. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's cool.
Oh, fab.
A young jeweler in the making.
Yeah.
Go onto YouTube, search for, go to Andrew Jewellery on YouTube. There's a playlist all about soldering. Perhaps if you could
I did have a little
really
look in
quickly.
anticipation. I thought you'd see that,
Go
but
onto
I can't.
playlists. There's playlists and there's one for soldering. There it is there on the left.
So if I send
Copy the
this-
URL.
Copy.
So here is a playlist of soldering, and this is exactly what you need for learning how to solder. Something that you can't simply just pick up overnight or sort of describe in 2 minutes, but go and check them out. There's lots of films on there, all different types of soldering. Next question, please.
Right, okay. Cecil is wondering how it's possible to attach one-hole pearls without prongs or a bezel setting to a ring. I've seen some designs and I have some guesses, but I don't understand how they don't fall off.
Whole pearls. Okay, so what they do.
One-hole pearls.
One hole pearls. Yeah, one hole pearls.
Yeah.
As in one hole pearl, the hole goes all the way through, or halfway.
Well, if it's for a ring,
Okay.
it's going to be one, isn't it?
Or half holes, half drilled.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, because so, okay, pearl. The traditional way of setting a pearl is onto a peg. So we've got the hole that comes up halfway. So there's your hole inside your pearl. All right. Then what you do, you have, here's the ring down here. This is a little cup on top of the ring. And on top of the cup here, you usually will have a wire. So in theory, that wire locates in that hole. But you've got a problem. The pearl can easily slide off. So there's a couple of things that you can do. You can get a file or you can get a pair of top cutters and you can cut grooves into that. Okay, so these little grooves into here. So when you use your pearl cement to cement this into here, the cement sort of grabs onto the roughness of this that will then locate, or you can twist. This is then, perhaps it's a rectangular section or a square section. You would twist it so it's got some twists like this. Again, you can cement that, cement the hole. This goes in, the pearl won't come off easily because of the twists. But the old-fashioned way, and this is really, really clever, and I love this. I love this method, when the hole is drilled, perhaps they wiggle the drill a bit, and the hole inside looks a bit like that. I'll come to you perhaps one hole all the way through. And what happens then is that you get your peg, and you make a split down the peg like that, and then you get a sliver, a tiny, tiny sliver that's wedge shaped that looks like that. So the idea is then you get the pearl, you push the pearl down, and as the pearl then touches this wedge here, it pushes onto the peg, which opens out. So then the peg is going to be within the pearl here, out, and that's sticking out like that. And here is your little wedge that is within the center that would actually locate and hold the pearl on top of the peg. And there's no way then that that pearl can come out, is because the little wedge has forced apart the post inside the pearl. And that is the correct way of setting a pearl. Okay, so if you've got a hole all the way through, this is really quite difficult if you've got a hole drilled all the way through your pearl, because you have to find a way of attaching that onto a ring with a cup, for instance. Yep. So, and here's your post. The easiest thing to do is to slip the pearl over the post, but then you've got the problem of this post sticking up above the pearl, haven't you? What can you do with it? The problem is you can't put any heat onto that at all, because the heat is going to damage the pearl. So the heat is out of the question. If you've got a puck, a PUK, a Lampert puck, or a laser welder, what I would do is protect the surface of the pearl with a piece of tape, and then you can direct the laser or the puck at that point and blast it with a spark that will melt that, okay, on top of the pearl. Remove the little protection on here, and you set the pearl securely. The pearl will never come off. But what happens if you haven't got a puck? You've got a problem, haven't you? You have to try and think of another way. So what I would do, and I'm not quite sure where I'm going with this, because what I'm thinking in my head isn't going to work. What I would do is, if you're setting it this way, is melt your piece of wire with a ball on it in the first place. Then you can thread the wire down this way, so the ball is already on top, but then you've got the problem with the wire sticking out. What do you do with that? And that's the problem. Again, you'd need like a laser welder or a puck to puck this joint down here.
Could you have a double?
A double.
And then split it that way?
And wrap it, no?
Or just solder it inside. So if it's double prong, like I'm better at actions than...
Do you want to do it?
See, no, because you'll probably say it's a stupid idea. But
no, please.
The thing in the middle, the bit in the...
This, yeah, like that, yes.
Can you have that split?
In the middle like that?
Down the middle.
Am I on?
And then when you get to the end of the pearl...
Yeah.
Send them in either direction.
Down the bottom or on the top?
On the bottom, so you can solder them then on the inside of the...
I suppose you could. You could then bend the wires down here and like that there,
yeah,
and solder them
and
there.
then solder them there. And
really but then the heat is going to conduct through to the pearl.
Well,
so that is,
can you put like, what is it, thermolock?
Thermogel. Thermogel would be the ideal thing to use on that, yeah. So it's still going to go so near to the pearl. That's the problem. What I have done on At the Bench is done very similar, and it may be in the cabinet, but I've got a ring that looks like that, and that's the wire going round like that. That's the wire going around, like rectangular wire, and the pearl is in the middle. There's a hole going through, and what I did, I drilled a hole this side and this side, and I put a piece of tubing. I just simply flared the tubing on the outside. And tubing's another thing, actually. There we go, Andrew. You just thought of your own solution for the problem. Here we go. He's got it. I knew it'd come to me. Round pearl, hole through the middle. You've got the ring, you've got the disc. You use a piece of tubing. There's your piece of tubing that's running up. There. The pearl goes over the top of the tubing. So here's your pearl. You flare out the bit of tubing on top. You do have a bit of a gap little bit of a hole running all the way through, but then you can flare out the tubing, which would stop the pearl from coming off. I knew there was a reason why I was going through all that. So there we go.
It's kind of like what I said, but I just let it go in the other way.
Exactly the way that you said, Louise. Yes, well done. Yes, and I'm glad you said that, because that actually got me thinking. Yeah, open flaring it out. Well done. Louise had the answer. Any questions, please direct them to Louise at... I'm
going to be unbearable after that, you know that, don't you?
Next question, please, Louise.
All puffed up like a peacock now. Okay, do you know much about copper-lined electric pickle pots?
No.
Okay.
Copper-lined electric pickle pots. Copper-lined. Why would you have copper? Why would you have copper-lined? Because copper's bad. That means you would... No. I've got electric pickle pot here. There's plastic, but not copper. Don't know, I'm afraid. I'm not quite sure where to go with that one. Next question, please, Louise. Not quite sure. Why would you have copper-lined pickle pot? I'm sure there's a reason why. I've never ever heard of that.
Copper-lined electric pickle pots.
Yeah, never heard. Have to have a look at that. Yeah.
Okay.
Next question, please.
Jane is asking, what is the best way to use a rubber wheel?
In a flex shaft.
Oh, I've got it on there. That was my 5 minute.
5 minutes. Best way to use a rubber wheel. Use it in a Dremel. Use it in a flex shaft. It's in my cupboard over there. What I'd advise you to get is what's called like a diamond anvil, diamond coated anvil, and you can get it, and it's just like a device that is sort of this sort of shape. I think there's some grooves in it like this. These are coated with powdered diamonds in these areas here, and what you would do, you'd use your rubber wheel, whichever way you want to use your rubber wheel. And sometimes the rubber wheel, I got rubber wheels downstairs, and what's happening is you've got the rubber wheel that is like that, and that's the shaft, and you've got the little cone in the middle here with a little thing. So this is your rubber wheel, yeah? It's nice and crisp and angled when you buy them, but as you use it, it slowly becomes rounded, doesn't it? It's rounded, and it becomes all funny shaped, and you don't want the roundness, you want it flat again. So these little diamond anvils, you would run this, spin this in the groove here, that then would flatten that face again, nice and flat. But perhaps you don't want it flat, perhaps you want it nice and angled to get into a nice sharp corner or a crevice, something like that, well then you would then run your rubber wheel into this little V shape, and it would wear the rubber wheel into a V shape. How can I draw this? Like that. And you would wear that then into a V shape. And again, you can keep trimming it in the diamond anvil. Let me see if I got it actually. Bear with me a second. Let me just walk past you, Louise, over here again. Oh, my bum hit your water then, yeah. Sorry. Let's have a look. Have I got it? It was with all these here. It's that, no. Ah, there it is. I knew I had it. To pick them off the floor. Oops, daisy. So this is what I was just talking about. I knew I had it. Here we go. So this is a diamond, what's it called, a diamond anvil? This is from Eve. It's called a dressing tool. This is from Eve, dressing tool for cleaning, contouring and dressing of Eve polishes. You can use it for rubber wheels. So this little area here, there we go, is flat, and this is slightly diamond coated. This is diamond coated here. It's got a bit of a smooth curve here. You can just see that there. It's also got this V area here, and you can shape and dress your your rubber wheels, excuse me, to the shape you want it, because they're going to wear, they're going to get rounded, they're going to get out of shape. But these little dressing tools, absolutely brilliant. Before we go any further, go back onto that. Eve, there we go. It's an Eve dressing tool, 9505 AD50, and that's from eve-rotary.com. Go and get one of their dressing tools. They're the best things for dressing your rubber wheels. I think that's what we do. How do we use a dressing wheel? Rubber wheel, just you got the different grades. I know perhaps I went off on one a bit with that, but I think that's what she means anyway. Next question, please, Louise. Yeah? Is that right? Yeah?
Rubber wheel.
Rubber wheel. How do I use rubber wheel? Okay. How do I use rubber wheel? You can use it for cleaning up joints. You can use it for cleaning up the outside of bezels. How? You can use it for cleaning up rubber bezels. You can use them for lots of things. I'd be very careful with it though, in case you go too near a gemstone that's quite soft on the Mohs scale. It may mark the stone, so always put some protection onto the stone, some masking tape or some tape, scotch tape, just to protect the stone if you're going right next to a bezel. And it's brilliant if you're actually doing some bezel setting and you've got some slight dents. You can use the rubber wheel and go on the outside just to remove. But as I said, what you're going to find that rubber wheel is going to wear, but you want a nice flat surface, a dressing tool is ideal. Couple more questions, please, Louise. I think we're coming up to our hour virtually.
Okay.
Yes.
Michael has been using a German saw for years, finally buying a new concept. What is the difference between the tension and high tension saw? What is better for jewellery?
Ooh, tension or high tension? I'm not quite sure. I'm seeing high tension ones. New concept saw. I would always get on with a lever on here. It is going to make life so much easier for you. You don't have to keep tensioning it on the top every time you put a blade into it. This is one of the original ones that I had, and I think I put this lever attachment onto it that they sell if you've got one of the originals. You can see the knobs are quite worn, the paint's all coming off. So this is one I've had for many, many years. I think this is one of the original ones that came out sort of 10 years ago. They're absolutely brilliant. They are so lightweight. I would definitely get one if you can afford it, especially if you do a lot of piercing. It's going to relieve the weight and the muscle fatigue in your shoulder. I'm not quite sure what the high tension and normal tension ones are. You can get ones where these little areas here swivel. So these will swivel, which will allow you then, so when you're sawing, if these areas will swivel round, it enables you that you can turn the frame this way whilst you're actually cutting forwards. And especially if you've got a large piece of metal that you have limitations when it comes to the depth of the metal you're cutting, if you can turn the frame this way, but still can continue to cut forwards, you can cut longer pieces. It's only very rarely would I ever sort of use that, and I actually have one of those. Again, it adds to the weight, it adds to the cost, but a simple little lever action here. When you put the blade in, tighten it, do that, the blade is not quite tensioned, so you tighten a bit more. Then every time the blade goes into place, there you are, every time the blade goes into place, it's always at the correct tension. So I'm not quite sure what the difference is, but that would be my personal recommendation. New concept saw, that's about a 3.5-3-inch throat with a lever action here. That's what I would get. Not cheap as chips, but nice and basic. Nothing can go wrong with it. Perfect. Should we have one more question, please, Louise?
Creations of RJ is asking, why will no one apprentice me? My work is worthy of being an apprentice, yet no one will apprentice me. This was before the COVID flu.
In this country? Do you know?
Don't know.
The problem with, I think, it's a real awkward one, isn't it? Trying to be an apprentice. I don't think there's any apprenticeships these days, really.
USA.
Okay, so I wouldn't know about the USA, but I know it's very hard even in the UK to have an apprenticeship, because you sort of have to guarantee that person can be taken on at the end of it. And by having an apprentice, I know you say your work is first class, but sometimes it takes a lot of time for the one person to teach the apprentice, and that takes a lot of time and devotion when perhaps that person needs to concentrate on his work. I don't know. The apprenticeship.
Is it worth volunteering?
I was going to say, if you can sort of get some money, yeah.
It's experience, isn't it? And it's
yeah.
At least you've got somebody who can feed back on you and
absolutely, yeah,
and appraise you really if you wanted to go for something else.
Yeah, something further. Yeah, because I remember we had a gentleman who came to us who came for us for a job, but he wanted a huge amount of money for what he could do. And I said no, as I would. But he saw the amount of work that I had in front of me. And it was a time when I think one of my members of team left me, who was on the bench. I was on my own. I applied for someone to help me, but he wanted something, a ridiculous amount of money, but he couldn't do what I wanted him to do on the bench. So what he eventually did was actually said, okay, I'll come and work for you to help me sort out all the work that you have to do for Christmas, but I don't want a penny for it because I want the experience. And as you said, that goes a long way. So he was with me, he worked with me for 3 months. He didn't have a penny off me for 3 months. And over those periods of 3 months, I sort of helped him with new techniques and learning on how to solder correctly, how to melt some gold down, how to make up bangles and so forth. And he was very, very good. And he learned from me telling him. I didn't have to pay him anything. He volunteered. And at the end of 3 months then I said, look, okay, you're pretty good now. I will take you on, but on a part-time basis. And then I think he worked for me for about another year after that. Then he decided to go into teaching instead. So yeah, that is a way of doing it. Yes, absolutely.
I think as well, like, I was really surprised when I came to work here, how busy the workshop is. I thought it would be, I didn't realise it would be as busy as it was, as it is. And I think years ago, it wasn't jeweller, or goldsmith was ranked one of the least stressful jobs.
Was it?
Top 10 least stressful
Really?
jobs. Yeah, I can't remember what publication that was, but I suppose a job is as busy and as stressful as you want to make it. Really.
Yeah,
but then
I think it depends.
I think it's the time, isn't it? If you're busy like that, then you just
absolutely.
it's having the time to.
It is, and I think it depends and also upon what time of the year you want to go and shadow somebody or help them. Not much point doing it in October, November time when Christmas is coming, because all the bench jewellers are concentrating on doing the repairs, getting the orders out for Christmas, and they don't have any time. They're purely trying to concentrate on what they're trying to do to get Christmas done and dusted. So that would be the wrong time. And I think if you are working on your own or within a small team that is not related or attached to a retail establishment, you can work through. If you do start trade repairs, a friend of mine in south of England called Lee, he used to work for a shop, and he was so stressed because the shop used to put demands upon him all the time. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. Come Christmas, you've got to do all these orders, but you're not working any extra. You've got to fit all that into, and he just so rushed, and he was so stressed. He now has ditched that shop and started up his own company. He does trade repairs for other shops. So he is now dependent upon other shops sending him work, but enables him to work when he wants to. Perhaps he doesn't want to come into work at 9 o'clock. Perhaps he wants to come in and work at 12 o'clock and work until about 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. He can do. He doesn't have that stress. But you put that person in a retail establishment like we have here, and it's up to me and to Jason even to do jobs that are associated with the shop as well. So not only are we trying to get the work done in front of us, we're trying to do the repairs, we're trying to do all the makeup jobs, we're answering queries, we're going to see customers in the shop, we're trying to advise on new styles, commissions, designs, drawings, finding where to get the best patterns, best mounts from, bringing it's a lot more stressful than people actually realise, isn't it, Louise? You find that. You've seen what goes on, and 1 minute one person's asking you, Jason's saying, where should we get this from? And then someone comes out from the shop and says, Andrew, a customer wants to know, can we do this? And it can be quite stressful. So if you can work on your own, it is not as stressful.
But network as well. Any networking opportunity you've got, trade shows, I don't know, Facebook groups.
Yeah,
definitely
absolutely.
Networking, because if you are looking for a position like that, that's going to be...
Yes, and I know there's a Facebook group in the UK for UK jewellery jobs, and anybody who wants a job or has a job going will post it on there. So there must be some sort of equivalent Facebook group in the US for jobs, for jewellers. And as you said, if you can sort of donate your time and experience for a short space of time, you may be able to prove to them. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Do you have one more? Last question, please, Louise, I think. Okay. Last question.
Marge accidentally melted some sterling silver with some solder in it. Did I ruin it?
It depends really on how much solder you've got in it, and depends on how much silver is in it. You haven't necessarily ruined it. What you may have done is lowered the quality of the silver below, say, 925. So what you may want to do is perhaps get however many grams that you've got that you've melted down, say it's 10 grams. Perhaps what I would do is get 50 or half the weight, 50% of what you got, with some proper nice, perhaps some sterling grain, still at 925 casting grain, or get a little bit of fine silver to add to the melt. It's never going to be the same as if you just purely had silver without any solder on, but the silver does affect perhaps the malleability, the rolling, the drawing capabilities. It may end up cracking a little bit more so you've got to take extra care when it comes to that. But what I would do is definitely add some fresh metal to it, just to try and reduce the percentage of solder to a low amount, so it doesn't affect the rest of the metal too much. I think that's the best thing I can offer you there. Or if it's completely unsure and don't want to go messing around with it, put it to one side, put it into your little tub of bits and pieces of silver that has solder with it, to send it off to the refiners when you get enough there, and that may be your best bet if you're a bit unsure. But you haven't ruined it, just add some extra metal to it. I think that's it. I think that's it for today. Why, did you want to ask another question, Louise? No? Are you okay?
Do you want another question?
Oh, what's the time? Go on, one last one. Come on, one last one.
Okay, Marianne is asking, can solder go bad? I have some old solder that won't flow. I cleaned it, but it didn't make a difference. I
think solder is pretty much an inert metal. Would that be right? Inert, as in.
Won't hurt you.
Won't hurt you. Yeah. It's not like if you've got something like syringe solder or paste solder. Yes, will go off because it's the other bits and pieces mixed up with the solder will actually go off or dry up and that sort of thing. But actual solder that is. Oops, Daisy, that there is metal, in theory, I would not have thought that could go off, because metal doesn't go off. You've got an alloy within this, so I've never heard of it going off, and I can't imagine this solder going off because it's a metal. I don't think metal will go off. It may oxidize, but that's purely on the surface. So I think as long as you get the oxidization off, you put some flux with it, it'll be exactly great as it is today, as it is next year or 5 years down the line, because it is purely a piece of metal. So perhaps there must be other reasons why it didn't flow. I don't think it would actually be the solder myself. Okay then, I think that's about it for today's. Thank you all for coming on.
Ash says, you're like family to me, and Andrew is the head of the household.
Oh, I don't want to be head of the household. We're all pals together, aren't we? Yeah, because basically we look through. Louise is looking through all the chats as we go along, and I'm sorry we don't get to everybody's chat because it's just purely impossible. Perhaps what we may do is have a 2-hour one, perhaps once a month, something like that. Start a bit earlier so it isn't too late, or start later. Don't know. So I think perhaps a 2-hour would be quite good. We get through more. I've got no problems with that. But you test us by saying, oh yeah, you should check your household insurance. Well, yeah, you should check your household insurance. And then you also come on and perhaps answer some questions for us as well. So we will go through the chat, and then you'll perhaps message Louise and say, oh, don't forget, you've got to ask this, or you've got to mention this when you do this, that and the other. So I think it all helps one way or another. I think we're like one big happy family here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And it's lovely to see people... Oh... It's lovely to see people helping each other in the chat as well and offering advice, and everyone's just so lovely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the more people, the merrier, who want to have a chat. So, if you know any jewellery friends who want to come on and just watch it, we put the postings out perhaps a little bit too late. I think I put this out around about lunchtime today. But all you need to do is just to share the stream with as many people as you possibly can. Put it on Twitter, put it on Facebook. We put it on a lot of the jewellery groups a few hours beforehand. But, we're here every week, 4 p.m. here in the UK.
when we put the screen up at the beginning, has all the times in different parts of the world. Please share it with your friends. It's absolutely brilliant. And I know, sort of on average, we have about 1,500 views on each of these questions and answers after the time each week. There's always one person that gives me a thumbs down. I will hunt you down. There's always one. I did ban somebody from the page, and I did used to have 2, and I banned one person, so at least I've got 1. I've got 1 to go. So why anybody would want to sort of neg a question and answer, especially the person who actually negged the 12-hour charity, 12-hour live stream as well. I don't understand some people myself. I think that's just really, really warped myself. So yeah, but share it. Please share it with your friends. Don't necessarily share the replay. Share the live as well. You can come on. There's a share button on the films. Please share it. Just send the link out to people. Send it on Facebook. Put it on Messenger. Put it on Twitter. Wherever you want to. We'd love to have a lot more people coming on here. I think we have like 120, 150 people a week. But please, we'd love to have more of you on here. We'd like to say hello to everyone, and hope you actually learned something from our chit-chatting. Okay, anything else we need to say, Louise, on here?
Michael was asking about my birthday.
Did you all know I had a birthday?
Go on, peek back on camera. Go on. Did you know Louise had a birthday? It was Saturday. She got spoilt.
I did.
You did? Yeah, you did. Yeah. You had some lovely pieces of jewellery.
I did.
Yeah. Not made by me.
No, that sticks in your craw, that does, doesn't it?
I actually bought, Louise has got a nice Thomas Sabo
somebody
apple.
was asking for a close-up.
Should we have a close-up? Stand up.
Oh.
Move up a bit.
Oh, where am I going?
Only fraction. Whoa, that's it. There we go. Cool. That looks nice. They are a nice red apple. Lovely. Very nice.
Can I sit down now?
Yes, you can. You can sit down now. And yeah, Louise had a few other bits and pieces. What's that guy's name? Yeah.
Oh, Sean Lee.
Yeah, Sean Lee earrings as well.
Yeah.
So I don't get any.
I was ruined.
I don't get any favours, do I? No, I don't at all. So there we go. So these. Okay, so going back to these templates, isomars.com, Sievert torches, company's Hamilton Gas. I'm sure that's gasproducts.com. I think it is. Gasproducts.com. Tate Mart if you want some insurance to do with your jewellery making and so forth. So go and check out those sites. But that Hamilton Gas is the best price. Don't buy the torches from anywhere else. They are the cheapest, and I think they have free postage as well.
When's Andrew's birthday? Oh, March the 17th.
St. Patrick's Day.
What day is that next year, actually?
What day is the 17th of March?
Do you know off the top of your head?
No idea.
Don't you ever at the start of the year? Or
no.
Don't you ever know?
Hey Siri.
I always know what day.
What day is the 17th of March 2021?
It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday. Thank you, Siri. It's a Wednesday. Okay, that's it. We're going to have a lovely evening. We're having the dry night, so there's no wine tonight, is it?
We've had enough wine over the weekend.
We drank far too much over the weekend, didn't we? Well, I did. I had a bit of a headache, didn't I?
You did.
So yeah, it's a dry few nights for us. Everybody take care. My phone picked it up. It's like saying Alexa, and everyone's like, Alexa's going.
Yeah.
Alexa.
Hey Siri.
Yeah. Hey Siri. Yeah. Who's the best? No. Right, so everyone, take care, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. Sorry we didn't get around to everybody's questions. I do apologise, but if you want to make sure that your question gets answered next week, get on. I think I was on here half an hour before, and there was about 4 or 5 questions already. So people are getting on so early to get their questions asked.
Yeah.
So don't forget, Louise is just quickly going to pop something up on the screen now. The little bit of a poll to find out. We're going to be doing our next 12-hour live stream. We're going to be doing it for another charity. It's going to be in November. So we've got 2 months to plan this. It's going to be towards the beginning of November. But we want to know, is it best to have it on a Saturday or a Sunday? Don't forget, it's a 12-hour. So when is best for you? Click the Google Forms link that Louise has just put on there under my name. Click click that, let us know, Saturday or Sunday, whichever gets the most. We'll also post that link in the description to the film below here, so you can answer that as well if you're watching on the replay. And we will decide then whether we're going to have it on the 7th or 8th or the 14th or 15th of November. But we've got some fantastic prizes again. We got some other manufacturers and suppliers in on it with discounts and lots of giveaways as well. Durston, as usual, giving away massive prizes. Not saying just yet, but I know there's some new products coming out that I think we're going to be giving away before anybody else get their hands on it. So keep a lookout for that. Leave us Saturday or Sunday in the, the Google Docs. We'll come back next week and let you know hopefully what date that will be. But in the meantime, everybody, take care. Say good night, Louise.
Good night, Louise. Have a good week, everybody.
And we will see you at 4 p.m. next Monday for another question and answer. Everyone take care. Have a lovely week. We will see you very, very shortly. Take care. Bye.